Hello and welcome back to the Bayta YouTube channel. I've decided to pick up the camera in my new kind of room setup to film a video. I've got nothing else better to do on a weekend given that we're all stuck in isolation at the moment. But I hope all your family, friends, loved ones are safe. But I'm happy that you've clicked on the video as I decided that I think it would be a really good, useful way to spend my time is to create this video, which I've been meaning to do for a long time, which is 3 steps how to get your first startup job or internship. Now, the reason that I wanted to make this video now as opposed to before is that I've now been working in London at a tech startup now, building digital products for around about 6 or 7 months now, and I've got a bit more experience in understanding what it's like working at a startup, and not only that, as viewing it from the other side of I was there and I knew what it was like when I was applying to these roles, but I didn't know what the person on the other side was thinking. And in my role, I am now actively hiring software engineers and soon to be more on the business development side as well. So I have a pretty good understanding of what employers and tech startups, tech founders are looking for in the people that they want to join their company. So I suppose I'll just premise a bit with my story and my background and how I got to my position where I was now is that I was always interested in startups or, creating your own business. That's where my parents came from, and that was always very inspiring to me. And that's something that I wanted to pursue. So when I joined university, I studied accounting and finance and wanted to go down the traditional corporate path, but managed to meet a few people that had started a few companies from Warwick and managed to get opportunities there. And I want to use those examples throughout the video as to ways and some of the tricks that I use to be able to get in and get experience working at a startup. So yeah, for me, when I was, in my second year at university, I had no previous work experience apart from being a manager at a pizzeria, which is probably time for another video. But yeah, so I had no experience and I really didn't know what it was like going into start a company or run your company, or what it's like just working with other people. So I went in with the mindset of my end goal is to be a startup founder and create a company, but I have no experience. So I just want to learn how to maintain a culture or how people interact at work, what actually is the work that you'll be doing on a day-to-day basis. I really had no clue as to types of positions I could go for, whereas now I can be more exposed to is it more marketing position, a business development, software engineering. There's so many different roles and areas which I just had no clue. So I managed to leverage 2 internships that I did working at 2 startups to then get my job where I'm at now, where I'm full-time as an agile coach and also on the growth team where I'm at. So helping hire software engineers and also working on projects, building digital products. But enough of that, we're getting a bit sidetracked. You came here for the reasons of what are the steps that it takes to get a startup job. So I've tried to break it down into 3 steps and I want to give you key examples along the way. And look, it's not an easy one size fits all that you'll find that this process is going to be the exact perfect version to get you a startup job, but it's a great place to start. Number 1, and this is probably one of the most important things, is understand why you want a startup job versus a corporate or a medium-sized business. Why is it that an early stage company gets you excited above and beyond this? Because look, there's plenty of pros and cons between both of them, and you have to work it out for yourself. For me, some of the pros were I wanted to be at a company where I had responsibility from day one because I want to be in this startup founder position in the near future. So having responsibility and accountability early on was a big pro to me. And I wanted fast progression. I didn't want this linear path of, okay, join a corporate, do the grad scheme for 2 years, then you stay there for 5 years or perhaps move on to a different company. And it's a linear growth. I wanted this exponential growth of what a startup can be. And look, there's cons to it as well. I mean, the big cons and the obvious ones are that it's extremely risky. And we're seeing it, with the moment of, like in the world at the moment with this whole pandemic, is that startups can die very quickly and their runway can very quickly run out. I know a few companies like Lime, for example, was having some big problems, Lime scooters if you're in London or the scooters are in Berlin, but Lime bikes, these companies where now that the quarantine's gone on and it's a really cool tech startup, but facing extreme pressures. So there is this risk and this burden to be placed on your mind is that actually, do you want to be working in an uncertain environment where you're not sure that your job is particularly safe in the long run? But yeah, it's super important that you understand why you want to work for a startup. Is it the culture? Do you like being able to have that face-to-face time with the CTO and the co-founder that if you're at a big bank or a huge consultancy that you just wouldn't get this face time until 10, 15 years down the line? And that was something that was important to me. And when I'd done my podcast, if you've seen other videos on my channel, interviewing founders, that was something that I really valued, having that FaceTime and that experience. So I wanted to have that in the role that I was looking for. To summarize, the first step is be certain and understand why you want to join a startup above and beyond a corporate. List out the pros, list out the cons, see which one comes out on top and make a decision based on that rather than just pure feeling, because you don't want to go into this for the wrong reasons. So step number 1 was super important, and step number 2 still is important, but it didn't hold as much weight for me. So in this step, it's really understanding what your strengths are and where your passions lie. Strengths might be perhaps you're more technical and great at problem solving. So software engineering might be an area of interest where you want to get experience. Or perhaps you're very client facing and you would enjoy talking to people and having conversations where a more business development role is focused. Or you have a high level picture of, great graphic design or how you can advertise and market a product online. Then a marketing role might be good for you. And you can use these skills that you've got from university, or if you're not at university, wherever, try and use the skills that you're good at and then apply that to roles that you want to go for. So for me, I really enjoyed at university speaking at conferences, doing talks, making videos, going to different events. And it was this kind of direct engagement with others that I really enjoyed. And that's where I saw, okay, business development makes sense because I get to engage with clients, I get to work with teams. And that was something that really appealed to me. So I was very clear on where my strengths were and where I wanted to apply them. So I think understanding your strengths and your passions, whether it is that more, engaging conversations with people or more technical problem solving, marketing, whatever route it might be, play to your strengths, identify those before. And one good way that you can do that is just ask your friends around you. Ask your family, ask your mum, ask your dog, ask anyone around you what your skills are, and then that will help give you greater clarity. And step number 3, this is probably the most important for me and why I feel like I've got a relative amount of success working for a few startups now, is really make yourself stand out. So by now you should know your motivations and your interests, and the next step is to find the companies and the people that you want to be working with. And to do this, it's incredibly competitive, whether you're going for a, Spotify, which is a bigger startup, or a smaller, 3-man team. No matter what, you're going to have to stand out above and beyond the crowd because there's a lot of people going for these positions. And this is especially important for me that, simply put, anymore, a CV and a cover letter, your chances are pretty slim on getting a job. You really have to go that extra mile to be able to get it. And look, when I think about my first experience, we had a conference at university of Warwick Entrepreneurs, the society that I was in, and managed to speak with two of the speakers afterwards. And it was just this conversation of saying, look, I'm really interested. I don't have experience, but I'm hungry to learn. What you talked about here was really awesome for these reasons. And, I won't go into details now, but managed to speak with him and then followed up and said, thanks for taking the time to speak with me on the day. I'd love to do a free work experience with you just because I'm trying to understand what it's like to work in a startup. And that's what got me my first, week internship at a company. I then could use that and leverage that to go on to another 3 or 4 week internship experience with someone I met at a different event. And it was the same process of going, this is really interesting. I just really want to work for free and learn from you. And I got that internship paid for, and I could leverage my past experience, that first internship, to go, I have this experience. Now I'm interested in this new area. And if I just applied with a blanket, CV or just messaged them, I wouldn't have been successful. When you're going onto a website or a startup that you're interested in, don't just go to the contact and leave your CV, write your cover letter, and then think that you're going to get massively successful results, because it's not showing your passion, it's not showing your hunger to go above and beyond. So what can you do to be able to show this hunger, show this passion? One thing that was super important for me is going to different events and meeting people in person. This is the quickest way to build rapport and build those relationships. And look, it's not going to come out fruitful every single time, and you shouldn't go into the mindset of what can I take from this person, but what is it that you can learn and you can offer them as well. So for me, it was having this open mindset when I had no experience at all and say, look, I'll be a sponge and I'll learn anything. I'll do anything to be able to have the opportunity to learn from you guys. And it's this two-way relationship that if they see the value, they see the hunger in you, that I think, your chances of getting an opportunity of working at a startup, especially with these founders who care about their companies like they're their babies, your chances are massively improved. So to summarize on this step, I think there's kind of a few things that you can do to be able to reach out to people and show your interest. So you have your motivations from step one, then you know what your passions and your strengths are, what you can offer them. And then when you've met the person, let's say it is at a conference or at an event, and you should be actively looking on websites like meetup.com or Startup Grind here in London. There's tons of events that go on where you can meet people, other founders, venture capitalists, so many different people that can provide different opportunities. You just have to make the effort to actually go out there and do it. And look, you can do it as well, like I did from some opportunities, just looking at a company's website and not going the direct, obvious route. I went around the way to try and find the people to be able to talk to them because I was genuinely interested in the opportunity. So find the way to make the opportunity to stand out and get in contact with people and have those conversations. Nothing is better than getting on the phone, or well, actually nothing's better than face-to-face. Getting on the phone is next, and then your CV and email are the last things really. Making that first impression is super important. And those are the steps that I took to be able to get my first startup job out of university. And look, it wasn't an easy process, and these are the steps that outline how you can get there, but then the details in between are up to you ultimately. It's putting in the hard work. And look, when you're at step 3 and you've managed to talk to someone, said that I'm interested in getting an experience, you might have an interview process that is completely different and requires a whole new skill set. But hopefully having the level of interest that you've taken and that kind of attitude, that hunger to find and work at something that you're really passionate about, you should fly through the interviews, and the founders or whoever's interviewing you from these startups should see that passion within you. Because if it's not there, then it's probably a job that you're not interested in. So really find the interest, the passion, and then the rest will follow so long as you're being proactive. For me, working at a startup is one of the most rewarding things that you can do. At my job now, I've built so many, connections and relationships that are super, they're invaluable, and people that I really enjoy spending time with, and I feel like I'm doing very meaningful work. So I would 100% recommend working for a startup, whether that's just to get some experience and then move on and leverage this experience to go start your own business, or take this knowledge and go work for a different company, whatever it might be. Or you might just have a thought in the back of your head. It's like, what if I actually tried working for a smaller company as opposed to the cookie cutter corporate route? I'd say go for it. Try and put yourself out there, show the hunger, and I'm sure that you'll be successful. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Follow these 3 steps, and if you have any questions for me, the best way to probably get in touch is in the comments below. You can send me an email or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help out in any way possible. But good luck getting your first startup job or internship, and I'll see you in the next video.